Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell. Welcome to a new video, and welcome to the center of Moscow. And today, I'm going to take you a walk around the Moscow Urban Forum. This is the Transport of the Future exhibition of the Forum. You can see the trains right behind me. We're going to go check them out. Being that today is Moscow City Day, there is going to be a few more people here than during the week. That's not a problem. There's a small checkpoint just to get through here. This is completely free to attend. It's not ticketed, there's no cost to come to these events. And then the Manege exhibition hall is where we're going to walk through after we've seen these trains in the entrance here. After passing through security, it's very straightforward. They just check your bag. This has actually been set up for a few weeks for the Urban Forum, so this is not just today. The extra security just off ahead right there is for Moscow City Day. So they like to have some checkpoints in and out of the main center of Moscow. This is only for today, for City Day. You can see there the Four Seasons Hotel off in the distance. And then the Kremlin is right here on the right-hand side. And this is Manege Sq. And we're going to go into Manege Convention Center. I'm pretty sure that's what they call it. And these two different trains right here, these are actual real trains. This one is the Moscow 2020. This is one of the current metro trains that's on the metro all throughout Moscow. And this is something that everybody can catch any day of the week, depending on the track and the time and the train that you go on. In peak times in Moscow, metros run as short as every 90 seconds. So there is a lot of people that catch these trains every day. And there's still a lot of interest to see them though. There's a little sign here just pointing to the two different names. The one on the right-hand side is called the eVolga 3.0. And this is the current and newest model of the Suburban train that they're using in Moscow and Moscow region. Now, it doesn't even fit in the frame, and this is just one carriage. What I am curious about though is how the heck they got this here. Now, this is a full, legitimate working train. I have to think that they brought it on the back of a truck and parked it right here. I know it's been here for quite a lot of weeks before the exhibition, and then today is the last day. That's why there's lots of people coming to check this out. Now there is a very long line of people to actually get in the cab and sit here and press all the buttons, and people obviously want a photo. This young guy here is helping everybody out, and oh, on YouTube, yes, he's letting the kids, yes, Traveling with Russell, yes. And he's letting the kids sit down and take photos, and I think they're all super interested to see this. So the guy there that was in the cab of the train actually recognized me. Also the gentleman just waving as well did. So this is the line to get in the cab of the metro train. Not so many kids, lots of big kids who want to see the front of the metro train. One thing that I find very interesting is probably 99% of people on this train caught this train to the nearby station, and everybody's come on the metro train to relax, you know, check it out. But the funny thing is, we can take one of these home, we can walk not even 50 meters, and one of these will take me near enough to where I live. But we can see them up close. I think we take them for granted when we're riding them. We don't look around, we don't touch and feel them very much. And this is our chance. The other reason why they like to show these, of course, these are the newest models. They're brand new, and they're going to slowly be in a lot of the Moscow Suburban train lines, is they want to showcase these Russian trains and the technology and all of the newest features. They've even got power sockets right here. This train has got Wi-Fi, if you don't have Wi-Fi. And hello. And USB sockets, yes. There's lots of features that I might miss sometimes. And if we have a look on the seat right here, or by the seat, there's wireless charging. The USB sockets here by the middle of the chairs. And again, the line for this train is not nearly as long as the metro, but it's pretty cool to have a walk around inside though. In a future video, I'm planning to ride one of these trains on the new MCD4 line, which opened yesterday in Russia, and it runs from my house at Prelivka all the way across the northeast of Moscow. So I'm going to have a video soon from this exact train running on the line. Walking on inside, one more checkpoint to get through. Again, they're just checking your bags. And let's go and check out this urban forum and some of the latest innovations in Russian transport. Now, I have been here already before, and I know there's a downstairs level, and then there's the level that goes straight on into the main exhibition hall. So I think we're going to go downstairs. On this lower level, they've got a car exhibition that's showing a lot of the Moskvich cars, and the fact that Moskvich had a factory here in Moscow and now again has a factory producing the newest models, which I've done a couple of videos on, but we'll go and check them out again. And there's some of the older original models here. There's actually a museum in Moscow where you can actually go see these, but they brought them for this forum specially. This is the current Moskvich 3, which is the petrol version. And then over on the left there is the 3E, the electric version. And what's kind of cool or interesting is all the people who want to sit in it and take a photo with it. Now, you could literally go 15 minutes from here and go to a Moskvich dealership and do the exact same thing. But that's not as cool, is it? You got to come and sit inside, press some buttons, and feel a little bit of history seeing the Moskvich. There's definitely a big fascination about these cars. Of course, you can go and buy one of these right now in a dealership. They're the absolute current model. Of course, if you've watched my channel, you know I went to the factory where they produce these. So there's a video you can watch about me walking around the factory, which is about 30 minutes by car from here. But the Moskvich is now the current model of the factory. And then over here are all of the older models. And these are some of the museum pieces basically now. These were current models at one point. And then this is the next newest Moskvich. This is the Moskvich 6. Now what's interesting about it is the windows are all blacked out, so you can't see anything that's inside the car. And it's a bit of a mystery about what's going to be this car or what's going to be some of the components of it. And this is the next iteration of Moskvich, the 6. Again, lots of people wanting to look at them, take photos with them, and get close to them. 1973 Moskvich 2150. It's got that Jeep look about it, and that Land Rover look to it. And I wonder if it was a competing car to the Lada Niva as well. I'm sure the little kids running around have never seen one of these or never sat in one before, but I think there's a little bit of interest with a lot of the adults that have come to see this event and have a look at these models close up. They look almost futuristic, some of them. Of course, at the time, this one was released in 1985. It was, you know, the newest model. So it's just interesting to see some of these Russian cars and how they used to look. Check out the Aurus right here. This is the equivalent of the Russian Rolls-Royce, the Aurus. And I so want to go to one of the dealerships in Moscow and check out the Aurus a little bit closer. They're really this big car. And they've even got the curtained windows at the back there. And this is actually a concept car that's got the hydrogen fuel Now, when you ask the girl that's here demonstrating or talking about it, I said, where's the hydrogen fuel station for this in Moscow? And she said, there isn't one. So is this a one-of-one car, or a hydrogen car is going to become a thing of the future? A lot of the rest of the downstairs area is taken up by a very big cafe, and there's a children's play center where the kids can do different activities, and they've got a train simulator here, which is for the Moscow Metro as well. So outside was the real car, and then this is the simulators that they use with the video screens, and the kids can line up and sit in them and then go from station to station. And there's a very long line for this. I wonder how many big kids are wanting to go on it versus kids, but there's a very big interest around the Moscow Metro. If you watch my recent video at Delevoye Center metro station, there is a secret museum in Delevoye Center that's got one of these simulators there as well, and there is no line for it. You might have seen it in my video. I showed the kids sitting on that simulator, and everybody here is lining up. I reckon it's probably 30 to 40 minute line to get a go on it. But that one at the other metro station that I showed, no one knows about it, and it's a big secret. They also have set up a mock of the river tram, or the electric river tram that runs on the Moscow River. This is actually a replica of it. This is not the real thing, but the design of it and the windows and the seating is exactly how it looks. And they've got some volunteers in here pointing out the different routes that you can take. Now, of course, I've been on this and I've made a video about it. And it's a pretty cool video too. I really enjoyed that video. If you haven't watched it, maybe check it out. This is the part that I think everybody wants to see, and I want to see as well. And they've got the entrances set up very similar to the underpasses on the metro also. And they did an enter sign, of course, would be the exit for this exhibition. And they've got the signage to exhibition. And walking through, they've got some of the photos of the new stations on the big circle line. This is the mayor of Moscow for one of the openings. When you get to the top level of the exhibition, they've got this very big video wall set up with a movie about people catching the different forms of transport in Moscow, and from the old trains to the new trains and the conveniences. And from what I understand, this is the largest video wall in Russia. Oh, check that out. It shows you all the different lines of the Moscow transport. And then this is really incredible to actually sit and listen to this. It's all in Russian, but you can understand what they're talking about. Perhaps I picked the wrong few minutes to come, because there is hundreds of people crowding around this. I think it's about a 10 or 15 minute video, but it's really neat because of the animatronics of these different video walls that they've used, and how it's in a 2D or 3D format. Oh, there you can see the big circle line, and talking about people going to friends and families' houses and taking public transport. Wow. Now, it might be a bit hard to see, but the back wall is now folding down to reveal an even bigger screen. Wow, okay, this is really cool. Now, if you're actually here, it's even more amazing than probably watching it on YouTube, but that wall is pretty impressive. After watching that video and getting inspired about the transport in Moscow and in Russia, these different walkways they've got are meant to mimic the different passages between the metro stations in Moscow, and a lot of the walls and paneling are the same materials that they used in the creating of the different stations in Moscow. And then we come now to one of the main halls, and everybody is running around to check out the small individual exhibits. A lot of what they've got in here is talking about the current and future train lines in Moscow. And even on the floor here, they've got the stations mapped out and showing you the different circle route trains that they've got. And I think most people want to touch these electric tubes. You can see how many people are here today. It's really very popular. They've also got a carriage set up, or a mock carriage, showing the different chairs that you can sit in and what they used to look like many years ago, the wood and metal chairs, and how the modern ones now are more comfy. They've got the armrests, so they're wanting to show the advancements that have been made over the years. This next area is talking about the MCC, or Moscow Central Circle, and I've rode this train quite a lot because it connects with my red line, and they've got this very big circular room set up, and then also some of the different panelings and the walls are replicating some of the stations on the line. And then they've got this pretty neat interactive video screen or table which point out all the different stations on the MCC. Now, I was actually in Russia when this opened, and they opened it for a week for free for everybody, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And this connects a lot of the different metro lines around Moscow as well, and there's lots of people looking at this because everything's so interactive and a lot of people catch these trains daily. Makes a lot more sense, and the girls there are doing a little speech about it. They've set up some metro maps from back in 2010 until 2030, and this is interesting. When I first came to Moscow, Yugo-Zapana was my station, or my last station I could use on the red line, and then I'd take the bus home from there. That's when I first came to Moscow. And then 2023 now, you can see the extension, Yugo-Zapana, then all the way down, and then I get off here at Salarevo metro station, and how many extra lines have been added. And then if you want to know the secret of the metro in 2030, they've got the map showing what are the possible extensions of the lines, and will they possibly happen, won't they happen? But this is only 7 years away, so that will be interesting how much further my line will be extended here. Now, it's a little bit hard to make this out because it's a little bit dark in the room here, but they've got a mock of what the metro looks like on the underground right there, and then it's showing the different forms of other transport. There's one of the dissecting lines, and then the Suburban lines, and then the escalator, and then all of the current new trains that are running. They also have some museum pieces set up showing some of the different cards for payment and the changes in the different payment types that are now accepted over the years, and then also the changes in the models of the metro cars, and some of them that are still in operation. And then, like we saw outside the very beginning, the current models. Wow, this is pretty neat. This is really history at the same time. Of course, it's also showing the future of Moscow transport at the same time, but all the different types of the train cars they've got on the, what I'm going to call above ground lines versus the metro underground trains. When they do openings of the train lines and the metro lines, they give away souvenirs to everybody, and if you're lucky enough to get hold of something like these pins or these different colored payment bands, then they become collector's items. And interestingly there, this bottle of water, I've got one of these at home, this exact bottle of water, and it's got the Moscow Metro logo on it. And there is really a big collector market for train paraphernalia and different things, particularly where they hand them out at launches or at events. This is actually for the Sochi Olympics. That's the torch. There's even Christmas baubles themed around the metro as well. So there's lots of different souvenirs that you can collect. These chairs are very interesting. They've set up a voting system for you to vote for your favorite color of chair or fabric or finish for the trains. And via this digital board, you can actually choose which color you like. Maybe you like this light brown color. Oh, thumbs up. Maybe this white color, which I think is not as popular because it gets dirty very easily. And then there's the pink one. So what would you choose? Let me know in the comments. Does the local trains where you live give you the option of choosing what color seats you can have on the train in the future? So you can also ride one of the metro cars, and they've actually got the real car right here that you can ride. And this part's a video wall, of course, but check this out. This is the actual mock of the train car that you can ride. Actually, these are also in current operation, but probably not a lot of people have been on them just yet. Now, we are in a convention center, and we're in a non-moving building, but we can actually go inside a train and feel like we're actually on the metro cars. And of course, there's a very big mirror here.
Уважаемые пассажиры, мы приветствуем вас на поезде Москва 2020. Сейчас мы с вами готовы совершить полет над Лужниками. Убедительная просьба по возможности не покидать свои места во время движения. Также запрещено петь, курить и дебажить.
So they can sit down. And then this guy is giving a little speech about the train. And you can see the windows here moving, and the feeling of us being on an actual train. This is pretty cool. They've actually got 4 of these set up in the building, and each one of them mimics a different line that you can take. And this gentleman's talking about the line and the features of the train. And then there's these videos outside that make you feel like you're at a station. And just like that, we can get off the train right here. It even has the real video screens like in the normal trains. And there we go. We've reached another part of the exhibition. Now, of course, we didn't go on a moving train, but the trains go around about 30 or 40 meters inside the exhibition hall. Right here you can see, and each one of these mimics the different types of transport that you can use in Moscow. So the metro, and then the different types of ground transportation or suburban trains. So you can see the orange colors there. They're the actual stations that they've got set up, and there's 4 different ones that you can ride, and they do actually move, not that far of course, but the noise and the sound mimics exactly when you catch the trains. Probably in real life they're much louder though than what they were inside the demonstration one. You do get a bit disorientated when you come outside because you come into a different part of the exhibition, and most of what these video walls are and digital paneling is talking about the different train lines that travel around Moscow and Moscow region. And they've got all the different stations on an interactive map right there. And it gives you a sense of how far you can travel. And they've actually even got the countdown timer there for when the next train's going to arrive, which would be the exact same if you're at the station. And the actual semicircles here are set up to mimic the different metro stations. So depending on which one you ride or where you live, each one has a different architectural theme. And that's what they've done by setting these up. They literally look like you're in the Moscow metro. One of the other rooms, as I keep walking around, talks about the mega projects in Moscow and about the highways and roads and infrastructure that they're building. And they've also got some interactive video games that you can use with the pads right here, and lots of statistics talking about the roads and tunnels and the main highways that encompass Moscow and Moscow region. It's very, very interesting. Of course, this is entirely in Russian, and of course we're in Russia, so that's expected. There is not too much of it in English, but that's for, not really a factor when you come to this kind of exhibition. The signage right here is the same ones they use in the metro, so they've actually got it in English and Russian. There's another interactive video wall here showing the traffic and something that the kids can do. I've been here twice to this exhibition. I didn't get the idea of this video wall twice when I was doing it, so it's cool though. I think by a long way the most popular thing at this exhibition is the metro car rides and the train rides. Okay, they only move between the building, but look at all the people lining up here to ride on one. I can almost guarantee that everybody in this line came by metro to the event, but we want to ride one in a building. And of course some of these trains are new models, which may not be on all the lines in Moscow, but there's certainly a following for transport and all things trains here in Moscow, just by how many people are here today. And then walking back out towards the exit, again they've got these tunnels set up which make you feel like you're walking out of the metro in Moscow or walking under an underpass, and it's giving you that feeling that you're in the metro. There's some pretty cool photos on the walls here as well. This is Luzhniki Stadium, or the station right here, which is the one that I catch quite often, which is pretty neat. You can recognize the stations on the wall. If you live here long enough, of course, that's the the thing. Even these columns here are meant to look like the platforms of the metro. Lots of inspiring photos on this left-hand side as well. And the buses in Moscow, these are the high-frequency buses that run on different lines. And they've actually got a picture of the electric river tram with one of the classic ones in the background, which is pretty neat. Yeah, this is a really interesting exhibition to come to, especially if you want to see a little bit into the future of transport in Moscow. Each day during the forum, they've also got different speakers from different parts of the Moscow transport network, and you can listen to talks and the different systems that they've got in place and different divisions of the Moscow transport company. I'm not sure what they actually call the whole thing, but it's pretty cool if you want to come to listen to someone talk about the whole train and vehicle and bus network. So making this particular video, this is only the second time I've been to Manege. hall. And the previous time was to see the same exhibition. I didn't film when I did the previous tour. I just came for a bit of a walk around to see what it was like. I think I beat the lines now coming in. They're actually making sure that the place isn't too overcrowded, and they're letting people in and out. And if you don't want to go see the trains, you can skip the line and go inside this way. Oh, the lines really did get longer. Maybe I came right at the best time a little bit earlier on. Seeing as it's a nice blue sky, sunny day, I thought I'd walk up to Red Square and slowly end the video here. Just thought I'd show you how many people are out walking around in the absolute center of Moscow today. This is the well-known GUM department store that I've done quite a few videos in. Nikolskaya Street is between the building there and then the church. And such a beautiful day today. And they didn't close any part of the middle of Red Square down. This is Moscow City Day as well. So naturally, a lot more people will come into the center of Moscow to come to the events. All 4 of the Urban Forum events have been held very close to here, so it's nice and easy to navigate around and go and see them. Well, there really is a lot of people in the center. And you've got to keep in mind that Moscow has a population somewhere between 15 and 17 million people. So naturally, anywhere you go on a weekend, on a holiday like today, you're going to see bigger crowds of people. Lots of people walking to and from different things. Very famous lines marked on the cobblestones. You ever seen any of the Victory Day events that they hold in Moscow? This is exactly where it is. They would have a very big grandstand set up here on the right hand side where all the dignitaries sit, and then they bring the different regiments for marching into the center here. Looks like photo time, and everybody wants to get a photo with St. Basil's Cathedral in the background. It's a very popular photo spot, and how close you want to walk to get to it. You can see today everyone's in the light jacket attire. It's actually a very nice day, but just in case, something a little bit warmer. What do you think, everybody? Do you want to come for this walk in Red Square? You really, even just walking here, you kind of feel the history of this location. If you've ever seen anything on television, the backgrounds of these buildings are very frequently shown. It's 20 minutes past 5 on the clock right there, Spassky Tower. It's actually very quiet when you walk here after coming out of the forum where lots and lots of kids were. It's like a little bit of a respite walking here in Red Square. As you walk closer to the cathedral, you get in selfie territory, and just about here is where most people take their photos from. And as you walk around, you always feel like you're in the background or foreground of someone's photo, and people taking nice photos with the background. This one guy taking his own selfie there, and then some ladies taking the photos. So yeah, it's like how many pictures can you get in when you walk around and get in the background of them as you come in this selfie zone. I think they should mark the floor here as the selfie zone, so knowing that you might be just in the background of someone's photo. It's always nice to walk here. I never get tired of this part of Moscow. I know this is the geographical center and it's so historic and so famous, but it's somewhere that everybody knows as a landmark in Russia. And it's very nice, especially with the blue sky today in the background. It's nice to come and get a photo with the sun in the right direction. Lots of people just enjoying the weather, which I think, it's the right thing to do on a Sunday in Moscow. Somebody else getting a picture. I always look when someone's taking a photo what angle they're doing in case I can get a better photo myself. That's always my goal, to get the ultimate picture here as well. Come at the right time of the day. I hope you like this little ending. This is not edited and cut up. It's just checking everybody out and seeing what everybody's up to. Bit of a line over here for ice creams. They have these pop-up ones all over the place when the weather's nice like this. And you can walk down there to the Moscow River off in the distance.
Hello.
Hello. And there we have it. And just looking back up the hill towards the main part of Red Square. Okay everybody, so we've come to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this walk around of the Moscow Urban Forum. Of course, there's different exhibitions going on all over the center of Moscow here. This was the one that was dedicated to transport and the trains and metro lines. It was very crowded. I hope the video looks good. It's very hard to kind of film when there's so many people. You're trying to not get them in the shot and then they walk in the shot, so sometimes it's difficult. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. They're always the best way to support the channel. Thumbs ups and comments help the channel a lot. Maybe you want to share some of the videos on the channel with a friend. Put it into your social media platforms. So yeah, thanks everybody. I've put a link to Telegram right here if you want to go click on my Telegram channel. There's also a link to another video on the channel if you maybe want to check out a past video right here. Telegram will be right here. And I'm off on another adventure. Bye everybody.